Hello everyone! Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we're continuing Super Mario World! Last time, we managed to beat the first, second, and third castles in the Dinosaur Lands, getting us a quite sizable amount of progress into this game already. Yeah, it's not really the longest game, although it does have quite a bit of content to it. So yeah, we are steadily approaching the halfway point of our adventure, and we're moving on to the next main area, which is kind of an interesting area. I don't really know what exactly to call this section, because it's not as explicitly labeled as some of the other areas, but we'll just refer to this as the Cheese Bridge area for now. So with that said, how about we hop into this next level? Just want to quickly note that the reason I have a power-up and all of my lives in the last section is because I have save states. If you reload a file after you save and quit, you will lose any power-ups and extra lives you may have collected in your adventure, which is kind of nuts. Later Mario games do fix that, though, so you don't have to worry about that in later games. But in these classic ones, that is an issue. With that said, how about we hop right back into our adventure here? Cheese Bridge area. I remember this level being interesting. We get a cape feather right off the bat here, and it's an interesting section here. We got these saw blades that will be harassing us all throughout the level. Just want to ride the rails of these platforms. It's kind of a relaxing time to start off. Oh, that dragon coin there. We would have been able to grab that if we were on a different platform. We couldn't. We'll avoid that feather for now. No real point to grabbing that for the time being. Just gotta be really careful around these blades. Okay, can we try to grab this one? Yep, we got it. And we have made it, hopefully. Yep, we're able to grab onto that. To hit that block, a pair of wings will fly out. That's something that you can only use if you have managed to bring Yoshi into this level and get him to this point. So sadly, we cannot do anything about that. Grab that dragon coin and head down this pipe. Got another section here. Just want to hop across these platforms. And, ooh, we got some bullet bills coming at us here. I should be pretty close to the end here. So I got these ropes that we can hang on to. Gotta be careful to avoid these saw blades. Just want to ride them. Also jump off should you need to. Get to a certain point, and there we go. It's not really a very long level, thankfully. Now this level is of course very interesting because as we will see as we depart, that is a level with a secret exit, and the method that you would be able to find the secret exit is quite infamous to anyone familiar with this game. As I said before, we'll be tackling most of the secret exits at a later date. I just want to get the straightest path to the end game as I can on my first run before we tackle all that. Well, we got a new level here, Cookie Mountain. And this one should be pretty good. Got a return of Monty Moles. Haven't seen these guys in a while, so it's nice to see them. We got a new enemy here. That is a Sumo Bro. Those guys are quite distinct compared to most enemies. They typically hang up on blocks or platforms that are just out of reach, and they will stomp their foot on the ground, which will cause the earth to shake, and it will shoot out a fireball, which will strike the ground and just make the ground burn for a little bit. It can be a little tricky to deal with, but they're not really that bad. We could see up there that there was something in the sky up there. Okay, I've just totally wasted all my power-ups. That's great, Mario. I gotta be careful here, because there is a pretty big chance I could actually die here. Yeah, we're really starting to get into the farther sections of the game, so our chances of surviving a lot of these threats are obviously going to be a lot more difficult. I can actually do this with the vine. I always have such difficulty with the vines at times. Grab a 1-up there. It's very nice. Is there anything in this pipe? Oh, I remember this area. This could be fortunate because of this guy. That is a porcupuffer. It's a very dangerous thing. You want to avoid these guys. You touch them, it's pretty much guaranteed death. And we just got a little section here. Grab another 1-up. And, oh, we're back over here. Okay, that's not ideal for me. What are we gonna do, Mario? If we got the red switch palace, we'll be able to have what's in there. Can't, just gotta avoid these moles for now. Stay away, boys. This would be another good area to go to if you have Yoshi, because we got all these berries here. So unfortunately, we can't activate this block. So I think we need like a shell or a cape in order to access that. Oh, a jumping piranha plant can actually shoot fireballs. Watch out for that. And we are almost done here. Just got some more sumo bros to deal with. Is there any power-ups we can get in these blocks before we finish things here? Take that guy out. And we should be about done. Alright, let's see if we can get a good bonus here. Come on. No, I missed. Okay, that wasn't really an ideal run of Cookie Mountain, but we're able to get through that. Yeah, this section of the map is pretty short if you're just going through the straight path. Otherwise, there is a lot more to this area, but yeah, we'll save that for a bit later, because we're already at the 4th castle, Ludwig von Koopa's castle. Ah man, of all the Koopalings, this is definitely one of my favorites. This area is going to be interesting. So remember this level giving me a bit of trouble to start off. Right off the bat, we got a new enemy here. I believe it's called a bony beetle. It's pretty much an undead version of the buzzy beetles that we see all throughout the game. This one's going to be a bit tricky. Got a lot of ball and chains to worry about. But we get a mushroom right at the end of this corridor. Now this area is the one that is very tricky. We got these... Ow! We fell in the lava there. But yeah, that section of the castle is definitely nuts. We got the ceiling coming down on us with all those spikes. Reminds me of one area from Super Mario Bros. 3, actually. So let's see if we can just... Yeah. This area's a little tricky because we got these really tight corridors to deal with. Be pretty hard to maneuver around here. Yeah, as we're just getting back to where we last were, thought maybe we could talk a bit about some stuff that's been going on, and I haven't really been doing that. Hit that block and you're able to reset the ceiling. Ow. Really don't like taking the damage there. Let's get past all these potaboos. So things lately have been pretty alright with me. We've got to run to the end of this corridor. There we go. And now we simply have to climb up the fences. Yeah, so things have been pretty good with me lately. So, obviously it's been a long time between the last stream sessions. That's because I just had so much work to do in the last couple of weeks. It was a really brutal period for me. Especially because we had just... we were working 7 days in a row. It was very hectic, and... yeah, let's actually have some time off as we get into the next boss, Ludwig von Koopa. Certainly the most unique boss we have seen up to this point. He'll shoot fireballs at you from his mouth, and when you hit him, he will duck into his shell and try to ram into you. Can be a little tricky to deal with this guy if you're not adequately prepared for his attacks. Luckily, I am pretty good here. We should be able to finish him off right there. Yeah, that fight can definitely be tricky if you're not prepared for those attack patterns. We're able to handle them pretty nicely, though. Yeah, of all the Koopalings, I really do like Ludwig. His design is just very cool, and canonically, he's the oldest of the Koopalings, which I think is a nice distinction as well. always love that animation. Ludwig von Koopa's days of composing Koopa symphonies in Castle Number 4 are over. The Forest of Illusion lies ahead. Mario must use his brain to solve the puzzle of this perplexing forest. Yeah, something I want to mention there, all the Koopalings are named after musicians and composers. So obviously, Ludwig von Koopa is named after Ludwig von Beethoven. And funny enough, I believe that in terms of his character, it's probably canon that Ludwig is actually tone deaf and is terrible at making music. I at least remember that from the Mario Choose Your Own Adventure books that were... Oh man, it was so long ago that those were actually made. I just remember those when I was a kid, and yeah, they were very fun. Definitely add a lot of personality to the characters, especially when it comes to the Koopalings. Partially why Iggy is my favorite Koopaling. I really like the attention he got in those books, and how he always gets portrayed as like the inventor of the Koopaling squad. But that's enough about me gushing about that, because we have the fifth main area, the Forest of Illusion. So we're definitely going to be spending quite a bit of time here, as this area has quite possibly the most secret exits of any world in the game. Starting off at Forest of Illusion 1. We already got a new enemy, the Wiggler. May look like a friendly caterpillar, but if you hit that guy on the head, its flower comes off, it turns red, and it gets more aggressive. So yeah, definitely gotta be careful with Wigglers. They are pretty dang aggressive, and it can be tricky to take these guys out. Like, I think they're immune to fireballs, so that's one thing you can't do for those guys. But yeah, they are a pretty infamous enemy. Especially remember my earliest memories of seeing Super Mario World was seeing Wigglers in this level and being like, wow, look at those guys. Yeah, so while we're going through this level, since there's probably not going to be too much unique things to talk about, I thought I would go a bit into my history with this particular game, since obviously I've been playing it for a long time, but I want to go more into detail with my history of it over the course of this series. So, it was a long time ago when I first got to play this game, and just Mario games in general. So probably around 4 when I first picked up my first video game, which my memory is very hazy on what was actually the first game I ever played. I want to say it was Super Mario Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES, but it could have also been Miss Pac-Man, which we had a version of it on the PC. I don't know, my memory's very hazy about my early gaming days, and hope we lost that spring. But yeah, Super Mario World in particular was a game I didn't pick up until a bit later in my life. So when I was about 5 or so. And it was very interesting getting to see it. So the first time I actually saw this game was, believe it or not, in a dentist office. Yeah, this particular dentist office had a room with some SNESs that kids could play while they were waiting to get their teeth pulled or get their cavities filled in and stuff. So it was a very nice little thing there. And I distinctly remember the games that we could play at that particular dentist office. They had Super Mario World, they had Donkey Kong Country, and Super Mario Kart. So yeah, that was my first exposure to those games there, and it's a very cool way to get to experience those games for the first time, and eventually we did pick up Super Mario World for our home SNES. And yeah, after that, I just really fell in love with this game. I loved it so much. Just the visuals are just so... They were just very pleasing, and they were definitely up my alley, especially with my love of cartoons at the time. So we're able to get through the main exit of the Forest of Illusion. Something to note about this area is that there are a lot of secret exits in this area, and depending on how things go, we might have to take a secret exit if we're going to finish this world. But for now, let's head on to the next area, Forest of Illusion 2. It's got ourselves a water area. So I believe this is our first fully underwater level that we have actually been to. And we got quite a lot of enemies here. So I believe those fishes with the goggles on them, I think they might be called blurps or something. I don't know, they're technically not cheat sheets, is what I am able to remember. So that is an important distinction to make. Then we got these spiky guys, urchins. You're pretty much unable to kill these guys. Except if you use certain things, like this blue block. Ow. So we actually did get hit by that guy there, which is kind of BS. Sometimes the hitboxes in this game can be a little off. But yeah, urchins are pretty much here just to be a hazard. They move back and forth along certain pathways, and they will hurt you should you touch them, as you would expect a spiky enemy to be. So yeah, they're a bit more of a hazard than an actual character, but that's fine. So definitely remember a bit of the urchins from some of the later games, especially in the new Super Mario Bros. Games, because I remember they would be a hazard in some of the water levels. Yeah, but I want to be careful here, because I don't want to lose Yoshi before we get to the end of this world. It's got another new enemy there. That is a Rip Van Fish. So it's pretty much like a Cheep Cheep, except it is sleeping until you approach it. And when you do approach it, it will wake up and begin chasing you. So obviously it's named after Rip Van Winkle, that whole story. And yeah, they swim pretty dang fast, so if you're not careful, they can easily just blindside you and take you out. Be pretty tricky to deal with. Just want to be careful here to maneuver around, because we're running out of time of this level. This is a pretty big water area, so you've got to be careful not to run out of time when going through here. We should be pretty close to the exit by now. Alright, let's go in here. So remember this section, there's a lot of Rip Van Fish. You can see just how quickly these things can swarm you. And around here, there is a secret exit. We're gonna leave it for the time being, but at some point, it will be necessary for us to come back here. So pass by this guy. Yeah, that guy is a jerk, and he wakes up the Rip Van Fish. Sorry, Yoshi, but we have to continue the level without you. I really feel bad about losing Yoshi there. Yeah, of all the levels that have secret exits, this one I could definitely recommend you going through, because this area has one of the more useful secret exits in the game. I'll elaborate more on that when we eventually get to that. Oh, geez, I activated my Siri by mistake. Hold on. Okay, a little interruption there, but we're all good now. Alright, this level I remember being a bit tricky to deal with. So this section, we got some enemies that are trapped in bubbles, and when you get close, or they hit the ground, the enemies will be released from the bubbles. And speaking of which, we got new enemies in this area, bombs. These are a pretty classic enemy. These little black spheres will walk around, and eventually, they go boom. If you get caught in the explosion, you will take damage. I really like the simple design of the bombs. They're just very cute looking when they don't have so much detail to them. Right, let's get those fireballs out of the way. Just gotta use this spring to get around these pipes. There's a lot of hazards in this area that could just really blindside you. Especially this section where it has all the blocks here and then the enemies run into the blocks. Be a little tricky to deal with. We should be good. So I definitely remember that you'll probably want Yoshi for the end of this level to get to the secret exit. And I'm trying to think about some of the necessary parts of this level, because it has been a while, and I remember this level giving me a lot of trouble as a kid. Is there anything else in this area we can grab before we move on? I got a section here with a lot of question blocks. Yoshi, let me jump on you. Could be something good in these blocks, but we gotta keep moving. Hey there, Chuck. I see you. Ow. Do not do that, Chuck. Alright, took care of that guy. Another dragon coin we can grab here. And then we're already at the end of the level. Alright. Let's grab our bonus there. get a good amount of points. So yeah, the level is being so we can move on. Wait a minute. So yeah, it looks like the path just keeps circling around over here, and we have the Forest Ghost House. Let's go and take on this area, as it is part of the main path, so to speak. So if it wasn't apparent by the name, the Forest of Illusion is possibly a reference to the Lost Woods in the Legend of Zelda games. Especially because a lot of the theming of this area is a big area that you would get lost in. So, oh man, we're just gonna have to take the hit here and get past this guy. Really didn't want to have to do that, but yeah, he was just in our way there. Remember, this ghost house gave me a lot of trouble as well as a kid, especially because some of the things you have to do. There's a lot of ghosts in this area you gotta deal with. Let's grab that, and grab the dragon coin there. Alright, reach the end here. So what do we have? Oh, got one of these rooms. Let's grab that fire flower there. So sadly, one aspect of this game I don't like all that much is that if you get hit by an enemy, regardless of what power-up you have, you automatically go to Small Mario. It doesn't work like some of the later games where if you get hit, you still are able to be turned into Super Mario instead of just being instead of just going straight to Small Mario. Want to head over here, and I think we want to avoid that door because I don't believe that is the exit out of here. We want to go to this door on the far left, I believe. But doing that, we pick up a very special item, the Free Up Moon. That is a very rare item you can pick up, and by hitting that, you get free 1-ups. Except that is very nice to grab. And we are not doing very well this bonus game. Only got 1-up, but that's fine. Definitely some good stuff for us there. And by completing that level, we circle around back to Forest of Illusion 1. Alright, so if we're gonna progress for this area, we're gonna need to take a secret exit. Specifically, we're gonna head back to Forest of Illusion 3, and I believe we need to get through this area and make sure that we stay as one of our big forms. Either that, or we need to bring Yoshi with us to the end of this area. And it's been a long time since I played this section, so my memory is a little hazy on what we have to do. Come here, you. Yeah, this is definitely something we have to deal with. Yoshi, come here. Alright, as we're doing this level again, something I want to mention that I think is kind of important, especially in gaming news. So very recently, a certain video game in the Kirby set by Yoshi. A certain game in the Kirby series has recently been released, being Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I believe is the title. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up that game eventually, but for the time being, I'm gonna hold off on it. Namely because I just purchased some new shoes that I'm gonna be wearing for the rest of this year, and I would rather not be using up too much of my money on other purchases for the time being, so yeah, especially because video games are quite expensive, so we're gonna hold off on grabbing this new game until a bit later. All of you just vominos. So I want to head down this pipe here. Yep, you gotta make sure you're Big Mario. So grab the key and put it in the keyhole. And that is how you're able to access some of these secret pathways in this game. And by taking that pathway, we're now at the next area. So getting through the main section of the Forest of Illusions gives us access to the next castle. You can see there's also a fortress over there. By taking some other alternate pathways in the Forest of Illusions, we could find a way to get to that fortress. But we're going to save that for much later on, because we still need to beat the game first before I really go into some of the extra content. With that, let's head into Castle 5, Roy's Castle. It's another Koopaling I do like quite a bit. He has a nice color scheme and, among other things, I know, just a character design I really like. But going in here, we have a new gimmick, the snake blocks. This is quite an interesting feature, being a platform that moves along a set pathway like a snake. And you just want to ride the snake blocks and follow the path they lead, avoiding having to fall off them, because that'll obviously spell death. It's an interesting little thing to deal with. I remember these gave me a bit of trouble when I was a kid dealing with them. We also got these potaboos that will be following us around these tracks you gotta be careful with. But it shouldn't be too much trouble here. So now we got some spikes. It's not instant death if we fall into these ones, but it could still be bad. You can see there's a spike that is a slightly different color. You want to be careful of those because they fall. Alright, we should be at the end here. Alright, so moving on to this next section. Hit that P-switch there. And we got some Bowser statues. They'll be spitting fire at you, which you want to obviously be careful of. So those Bowser statues were actually a hazard back in Super Mario Bros. 3, and they return here. But anyway, time for battle against Roy. Can we shoot our fireballs at this guy? We could probably take him out really easily this way, instead of just jumping on him. I mean, we can still jump on him, but yeah. So Roy is a interesting fight. It's pretty much a repeat of our battle against Morton, but a slight difference is that each time you hit Roy, the walls on the side of the screen will inch closer to the middle. So you have less space to move around in, and it makes it a bit easier for Roy to hit you. God, I love that animation. It's just so funny. Mario found his way for the Forest of Illusion and has put an end to Roy Koopa of Castle number 5. Onward to the dangerous but tasty Chocolate Island. Man, we are blazing through these areas right now, already at the penultimate area of the game. Welcome to Chocolate Island, the 6th and second to last section of the game before we really get started on the end of things. Luckily, I have been saying that the stream sessions we're doing for this game are going to be a lot shorter than the ones I tend to, so we're probably not going to see the end of the game just yet. And it'll still give us time to go over some secrets and stuff. But for now, let's get started on Chocolate Island. Right off the bat, we got ourselves a new enemy. That is a Dino Rhino. They are pretty tough to beat besides just jumping on them. And when you do hit them, they turn into a new enemy, which is a Dino Torch. Pretty much just little guys that will shoot fire at you should they get the chance. You can easily take those guys, ironically enough, with fireballs. So, it's not too bad to deal with these guys. I like the design of them, though, and I'm actually getting to see a lot more dinosaur characters here in the Dinosaur Lands. So, go figure. Alright, the jumps on those guys are definitely throwing me off. Yeah, those guys jump around a lot, so they have a lot more mobility than most other enemies. That's something you gotta watch out for. But yeah, this is a pretty alright level, all things considered, I want to say. Alright, use the spring up here, hit that checkpoint, and we got ourselves a new hazard. Those are... so I believe those guys are called, God, why am I blanking on this? I believe they're called Chompers. scours, and... Oh, no, wait, they're called munchers, actually, yeah. They are munchers. Those guys are pretty much indestructible, and they mainly serve as a hazard. Do not jump on them, or you will definitely get hurt, and you don't want that. Right, if we're going down this pipe, this should launch us across. Oh! Okay, that did not go as I wanted it to. We're definitely seeing a lot more death. In fact, I don't think I actually died at all in my previous session, so this is definitely a noticeable change from how things were in the last... Yeah, things are definitely going to be harder from here on out. We're really getting into the end game, which means we'll obviously see a lot more difficult challenges, and I'll probably mess up a few more times. Who knows? Nope. Get... I want to hit this block. Give me that. Thank you. Alright, ignore those torches, and... let's grab our Yoshi. Hey, bud. I kind of miss not having the cape right now, but we could do without it. As you can see there are some blue dotted line blocks now. As you can predict, one of the secrets we could have obtained was a switch palace for the blue blocks, which would have been very helpful, but again, I want to get through this run of the game without hitting the switches. But don't worry, eventually we'll get into that. But now we got the Choco Ghost House. Let's see what delicious specters we see in the chocolate. Man, can you imagine a ghost made out of chocolate? That'd be weird. I don't know, maybe we'll get a Pokemon of that. This level I remember giving me a bit of trouble when I was a kid. It's got a lot more Eries here to evade. And we got this guy. So I believe this enemy is called a Fishing Boo. It's pretty much a ghostly version of an enemy we haven't seen yet called a Lakitu. And he has a fishing rod with a flame on it that you definitely want to avoid. If you touch that flame, obviously, it will hurt you. God, I really didn't want to lose all of my power-ups. Alright, get in this door now, and this section is a bit tricky. Can we... So we got... I really don't know what to call these guys. I guess they're... the name of these guys are Block Boos. I'm not going to be able to get that item, am I? No. Yeah, they are boos that are just in the shape of blocks. If you look at them, they turn into blocks, and when you're not looking, they turn back into boos. Alright, there's a one up there we can grab. It's very nice. And if we're going to get to the end of this area, I think we're actually going to need to lead the... Ow. If we're going to get out of here, we need to actually use the boo blocks in order to escape. Alright, this is going to be interesting to get through. As I said before, this is a difficult level. Look at me being quite the daredevil right now. How did I not get hit? How? I want to be careful. Oh! Ah, the floor got me. Yeah, we're definitely getting a lot more death these days, which I guess is fair. We're this late into the game, obviously we're going to start seeing a lot more death. What I could do is try to equip some new, some other power-ups by going back to some previous levels, but I don't know, that's just kind of seems cheap to me. Again, how did I survive that? Yeah, that fish and boo is definitely the biggest hazard in this section to deal with. Just gotta be careful. And we should be able to get across now. Okay. Get in the door. Okay. Alright, now can we get this without them being a pain? Alright, now I want to try to lead the boo blocks over here. Because in order to escape, we need to get to that door. which we obviously cannot reach at the moment. If you have a cape feather, you could easily be able to get there without using the boo blocks. But this is the intended path out of here. And there's the exit. So I believe this is one of the ghost houses that doesn't have a secret exit, much like the one in Vanilla Dome. But yep, that is another area taken out. Definitely a very formidable area. Oh, we got an area of another secret exit. So I remember Chocolate Island 2 being an interesting area. Let's hop right in. So got an area that actually looks like chocolate now. Here, the coins you collect or the time remaining can change your progress, and you find the special goal. Yep, that is an important distinction to make. Depending on a few factors that are kind of tricky to try to manipulate, that determines the pathway you take through the level. Once you go through this pipe, I believe, the layout of the level will change to one of two varieties. And depending on the path you take, that will determine which exit through the level you go through. Got this section here of all these paratroopas and bye Yoshi. Right, at least we got that power up back. But yeah, this is a weird level, all things considered, and to be honest, probably one of my least favorite sections of this game, honestly. Just the randomness factor to it is a little annoying. Alright, buddy, could you just leave me alone? At least we have these to be able to deal with some of the enemies. Alright, take the key in there, and see which pathway we got. Oh. How interesting! We got a pipe here. Okay, so I guess we got the secret exit for that level after all. Alright, let's just keep moving on. The Chocolate Secret. So got ourselves an interesting level here, want to say. It's definitely going to be a tricky level to get through, considering that this is obviously meant to be a secret area. So now we got charging chucks that actually throw footballs at you. It's pretty interesting. Again, that is a hazard you definitely don't want to get hit by. Those footballs will hurt. Definitely adds a lot of personality to the charging chucks with the way they throw, like, sporting equipment at you. Let's go up here. It's got some platforms we need to get across, and a hammer bro, which could spell doom for you if it hits you. Yeah, we're able to avoid a little bit of things there. Ow. Okay, I do not approve of that. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pass up that checkpoint. Is there anything around here we could do? No. Let's go over here. And I remember something about this. Well, I don't really remember this level, but I remember one of the cave areas coming up that can be tricky to deal with. So I think we could actually slide down the slope and that'd be fine for taking these guys. Oh, there are munchers here. Yeah, they're munchers. Those could be trouble for us. Yep, as long as you're sliding down the slope, you don't have to worry too much about the enemies. And we got some spike tops to deal with. Definitely tricky to maneuver around these guys. Oh, we got one of these platforms. We gotta get across very quickly. Yeah, this is not the main path through the world. I just kind of happened upon the secret exit. Alright, so here we gotta be really quick to get out. Woo! Could you guys leave me alone, please? I'm not interested in playing any sports with you. I am very much not a jock. Leave me alone. Alright, some more falling platforms. Gotta race across as quickly as we can. Wow, that's the first dragon coin I picked up this entire level? Wow. Alright, but we're at the end of the chocolate secret. So I'm probably going to go back and show off the actual stuff that you're meant to do in the main section of the... Chocolate Island, because look at this pipe. It automatically takes you to the 6th castle. It's very nice I was able to actually unlock that, but I want to show off the main path of the game, and that's very much a secret pathway. So let's go take the normal route through Chocolate Island. Alright, now this is going to be interesting, because we explicitly need to get the main path. So it's completely dependent on how many coins you collect, or the time you get through this section. Okay, that is not the pathway I want to see. Okay. You can see we're also having a little trouble with our bytes per second, it seems. So I think, what are we going to do here? We've got plenty of time for this area, so let's just collect a bunch of coins and see if this will enable us to get the get the things we need. Sorry. There, Yoshi. Ow. So I don't really know the exact things that factor into which pathway you take here. Okay, we got this. So the path with the gentle slope in these Rexes is the intended pathway that you want to take here. Alright, jump up the spring, get over here. It's nice to see Rexes again, because we haven't seen these guys since the first level in the game. And they're only just now showing back up. So that's, kind of interesting. It's kind of funny that Rexes are such a seldomly used enemy in the series. Like, I think one of their only other appearances is in the Mario and Luigi games. Which, if you don't know, are RPGs, so it's just kind of weird to see them being so sidelined. Yeah, got a section here of a bunch of mushrooms. Pretty much the only reason you want to pick those up is to get some score multipliers. Alright, this section is going to be interesting. If you have all of the... If you hit all of the switch palaces on the way here, you do not have to rely on the P-switches to get through here, but obviously I needed them in order to get across. Alright, like that, we now have Chocolate Island free. Now, I think this might be another level where we actually have to get the secret exit in order to progress. I'm not 100% sure on that, but there's at least more than one exit we're going to need to take if we're going to get out of here. And this level I definitely remember being pretty interesting. I was going to grab that blue Koopa there, which will give Yoshi wings, enabling him to fly. Which is a good way to make some progress through this area without having to rely on the platforms. I'm actually going to spit that shell out and grab a fresh one, as that will enable us to be able to fly much farther. If I want to be careful here, because having these wings is really good for getting through this area. Oh, there's a star there. We'll hit that block. And we just got those. Okay, so we have two pathways we can take. So I guess we'll show the main path here, which is obviously to take this gate. Ooh, we got the 40. That's a very good bonus there. And Yoshi gets to enjoy a snack. Alright, so got a bonus game before we move on to the next section. That is already good to start off. That's not good, though. Again, this is a little tricky to do because of Mario's head placement. That's not good. Ooh, this is not good. I've definitely messed up this puzzle quite a bit. Nope, we got no bonus because we weren't able to make a line. Oh, well. Alright, but taking the main path, it just makes a big circle leading back to Chocolate Island free. Alright, but thankfully, I know the intended path through this area. So we should be able to get to the secret exit and then actually progress. So what we want to do is grab our wings from this blue Koopa. It'll fly around to a bit of a later section before we need to grab another set of wings. Thank you. And just want to fly to the end here. There's really no reason to grab the checkpoint. Oh, careful. Alright, this section is going to be very tricky. We need to jump. Alright. And out by Yoshi. Oh, that's actually bad. Yeah, we needed Yoshi here in order to be able to do this. Alright, luckily, I know where we can grab Yoshi. We can just go back to Chocolate Island 2. And over here, you can easily grab Yoshi. And then hop back into Island 3. Yeah, you probably noticed, I did say before that I was using save states in order to preserve my save file. I'm not going to be using save states in order to go through the... in order to give me a better chance at tackling the challenges in this game. Because I feel like I want to get everything as I can as legit as possible. So we're not going to be saving states in between certain sections of the levels. We're going to get through everything the intended pathway. It's going to be the same as if we were playing this game on a Super Nintendo. I could really use another Blue Koopa right now. It's okay, we should be close to the end. Yep, we are at the end here. Just want to eat this guy. They want to fly up past that goal, which will carry us this way. And over here, we get a bunch of 1-ups. And more importantly, we got the secret exit. Woo, that got us another 40. Very good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you hit the top of the gate, you get 50 bonus points. And by hitting that secret exit, we're now able to access Chocolate Fortress. So this is the first of the fortress levels. They're kind of like the castles, except they're a bit different. In that we don't fight a Koopaling at the end of these areas, because functionally, they're pretty similar to the castles. Alright, this section here is going to be interesting. Got these pillars that'll be rising up and down that you obviously want to avoid as they are spiky. And see that stuff down there? That brown sludge is obviously going to be death. So I don't know what it is, like it's supposed to be like molten chocolate or something, but since this is the Chocolate Island and all, but no, I think it's intended to be like tar or something. Because otherwise, why else would it be like bubbling like that and instantly kill you? It's going to be an interesting area to go through. And I'm not going to double back to previous areas in order to grab some item pickups. Obviously, this area is going to be a lot easier if you manage to get the Switch Palaces up to this point. But because I'm obviously not doing that yet, this level's going to be pretty hard. Which I'm all for. I definitely like some good challenge, as long as it's fair. So these fireballs here are definitely tricky to deal with. They will make maneuvering around these pillars a bit tricky. Alright, we're past that section, and we got a checkpoint here. It's very good. On this area, got some thwomps. Be very careful here with these thwomps. So as we actually get to another area to deal with these guys, and we got them mixed in with their diminutive cousins, the thwimps. It's kind of funny, you don't really see thwimps a lot in the newer games. Ow, I thought there was a secret block there. Oh, well, we lost that power-up. Right, could you just move over so I can jump over you? There's another section that is made easier by hitting the Switch Palaces. That guy would be trapped in the blocks. You gotta trigger that guy in order to get past. You guys, just go. This area is definitely interesting. Gotta make it so that the thwomps will drop down early so you can jump over them. Alright. Just gotta go quickly. There's another section that is made easier with the Switch Palaces. Ow! I like hit the corner of that thwimp. How did that count? It's okay, we're halfway through this area now, so we can have an relatively easy time through here. At least I know some of the pathways through here, so we can have a bit of an easier time. Hello, sir. Please impart me with the way forward. Just gotta be careful. Let's drop that guy, hit that block, and grab our mushroom. That's nice. Yeah, this is definitely a tricky level to get through. Come on, move it. Alright, let's jump now. Get moving. So I don't know about you, but I've been thinking about playing some games lately that I haven't played in a while. Like, I was thinking about maybe trying some Crash Bandicoot very soon, which it's definitely been a long time since I played a Crash Bandicoot game. But I feel like it'd definitely be fun to go through one of those games I haven't played in a very long time. Alright, we're already at the end, so enough of that thought. Meet the boss exclusive to the fortresses, Reznor! Got these big dinosaur guys on these platforms that shoot fireballs on you. Once you manage to take out 2 of the Reznors, the bridge will start to disappear. So if we want to deal with this guy, we got to position ourselves under him and take him out. Zab, it's quite an interesting, unique battle here in the fortresses. I definitely like the design of the Reznor. They're a little simple, but I like the whole big Triceratop idea they have going for them. So yep, it's a nice little enemy concept. So now that we're done with that fortress, we get another chance to save, and we move on to Chocolate Island 4. It's got another cave area that is going to be tricky to deal with. It's got a lot of diagonal platforms here, and we got that big river of chocolatey death below us that we want to avoid. Remember this area being a little tricky, especially with some of the stuff we'll be seeing a bit later in this level. Yeah, gotta be careful. Oh! Okay, it's a shame there's no way for me to, like, really see what's down there. Actually, I think there is, and I just, like, completely missed it. So I'm pretty sure if you stay put in a section... Okay. So what I'm thinking is that if we're at a high enough elevation and we just press the control stick down, that would enable us to see what's below us. I believe that is a feature in this game that I was previously unaware of. If you can actually get something like that to happen. It's okay, though. Just really don't mind not having any power-ups at the moment. Because we're just at the section where the main hazard is instant death anyway. Alright, some more platforms here to go through. Also got to avoid the chocolate death below. Alright, there's another dragon coin. And around here should be the end of this section. Around there is an area you definitely want to go to if you have the... if you have any of these secrets... if you hit the Switch Palaces, that is, you can access some stuff that could be good for you. But around here, not really too much good stuff. Oh, but there is that guy. Meet the Mega Mole. They're pretty much big, souped-up Monty moles, and they're tricky to deal with. There's no real easy way to kill these guys, so your best bet is to just avoid them. Of course, I land in, like, the one section that has the death chocolate. Ugh. So yeah, this session will probably get a bit longer than our previous run, considering how long it's going to take to get to the castle. Alright, but it should be fine. Let's maneuver back here. Get any... Back on these platforms. Let's get on over. Thank you. Okay. should be back on the right path here. Don't know if I want to talk about some other stuff. There's one thing I could say, just some of the things I've been thinking about lately. I have been making plans for some of the other content I want to tackle later on in my... ran right into that Mega Mole. What's wrong with me? So I've been definitely thinking of a lot of plans I want to do for some of my later streams, specifically for the stuff that's coming out. So the stuff that is either coming out later this year or in the later streams that I have planned for next year. And yeah, definitely got some interesting ideas, especially because I've been replaying a certain game I really like, and it's been giving me a lot of ideas for the stuff that I want to do, and just been making me brainstorm a lot of interesting ideas for some of the content I want to tackle, and especially with trying to tackle in a different way compared to some of the previous streams I do. So most of my stream style tends to be very informative, where I'm discussing a lot of the features in the game, but one of the things I really want to do going forward is to do some more role-playing, so to speak. Nope, that poor Mega Mole. He got dipped in the chocolate. Oh, we're already at the exit. Gotta be careful this... Take that. I will gladly take the 10 points if it means having to not deal with that charge and chug. But yeah, definitely thinking about some stuff I want to do, especially trying to do some streams where I'm role-playing as the various characters I'm playing as, but that'll definitely be something that I tackle at a much later date. Just remember this area being a bit interesting. So here in the Chocolate Island 5, it's got another one of these special rooms. Alright, we can get a bonus here. That's good. Just want to be careful here. Try to get as many of these 1-ups as we can. Alright, we got a few 1-ups, so there's good. Definitely makes up for quite a bit of the death we suffered. Got some more pipes that go up and down. We're getting pretty close to the end here, which is good. Got these extending platforms. Thank you. I would go for that dragon coin, but I really don't care at this point. Just get out of here. The stream is already very close to being over, so I just want to get through that here. Alright, with that taken care of, we have finally made it to castle number 6, Wendy's Castle, which, obviously, we could have accessed a lot sooner, but I wanted to show off the main path through the Chocolate Island before we could actually do this area. So let's hop right into it. It's going to be the last level we do in this stream session. Wendy's Castle, specifically Wendy O. Koopa. Oh boy, this area I remember giving me so much trouble when I was a kid. So this area is really unique. For one, we got some dry bones that actually throw bones at you, which is pretty interesting. And want to be careful here because there are grinders. It's pretty much just saw blades that move along a track, and they can be pretty mean if they hit you. Okay, I really did not time that jump right. Okay, our thing here is getting a bit unstable. I'm gonna wait a little bit before we start here. Okay, I'm really hoping that we can actually end things off here, but I don't know, things are just a little tricky right now with my stability here. Just gonna give it a little bit, but hopefully, I don't know. Yeah, things are kind of messed up here, so I would really like to do this castle to end off this section, but Jeez, this is not good. I'm gonna give it a little bit to stabilize, and if not, then we're gonna have to call things early. I mean, this is about the time frame where I wanted the stream to be anyway, but I really wanted to end things off with this castle. But it doesn't look like things are really stable enough for that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, like, at some point soon, I definitely want to see if we can get our internet upgraded in some way that could be more beneficial to these streams. So, I know I've had these issues before. Don't really know if there's any way I could fix this. Yeah, I really don't know what to do here. I think we might have to end things early. Okay, I feel like we're probably gonna have to stop things here, but you know, we were still able to get a good amount of progress in, and while we couldn't end things off at the castle, we were still able to get a lot of good done. So yeah, I think I'll just cut the highlights to before we do this castle, just so that we don't have to worry about all of this nonsense. I mean, it's fine. I can definitely save a state so that we'll be able to. Yeah, so we'll be able to pick up where we left off for next time, which, since I actually have a pretty substantial break in the middle of this week, we should be able to handle the next stream tomorrow and hopefully close off our main run of this game. So that'll be very nice to do. But yeah, we are going to be ending things here. So, see ya!